this. They might be of assistance on your ship.
Sorry to pull you aside like this, but I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you. Taking those steps to eradicate the Terramorph threat is essential to the safety of every living thing in the settled systems. You should be proud. Yes, exactly. I'm glad you treated the situation with the urgency it deserved. Well, I'm relieved that the United Colonies agreed to use their genetically engineered microbe to exterminate the Terramorphs. Apparently, their decision was based on your recommendation. That was a smart choice you've made. A solid scientific decision. Against it? Not at all. I follow the science. If Chief Engineer Kulkarni believes that the microbe will be effective, then we have to trust her experience. Good, good. I wouldn't want you to think it was some kind of mistake. Despite the Lazarus plant being simply locked away, your decision has made the settled systems a safer place to live for years to come. I wouldn't say I disapprove. I simply prefer the largest safety net possible. I honestly would have preferred a more scorched earth policy to ensure the end to those horrible creatures. Oh, well, of course. I'm happy to be there for you. If there's anything else you ever feel like discussing, you let me know. Yes, you need...
Keep a lookout. Notify us if you see anything.
If you're here to buy or sell, you might want to talk to Octai. I'm busy. Octai Enbayar. He's the head of our Sidonia branch. If you want to do some trading, he's the one you need to be talking to. I'm busy. Wouldn't be the first time I've heard that line. Oh, don't give me that look. I'm just having a laugh. What have you got for me? Aurora, huh? Nice. A little too hot to handle, though. What else you got? All I'm going to point at is the ceiling, with my middle finger. Get that stuff out of here before UC security catches on. Of course, if there's a finder's fee you're offering, I might, well, bend the rules a little bit. You know, it's funny. Suddenly, I do remember someone who might be able to unload that stuff for you. There's a buddy of mine who runs with the Crimson Fleet. Goes by the name Adler Kemp. If he isn't passed out, you can find him killing the rest of his brain cells at the Broken Spear. Oh, and it's been a pleasure doing business with you.
Used to think I was Vanguard material.
Unless you're here to serve me another drink, you can turn around and walk away. Hey, why don't you say that a little louder? I don't think every single UC guard in Sidonia heard you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we can help you with this. If you've got a whole shipment of this stuff, you're going to need to move it fast. But you're going to have to do something for us first. You're a clever one, aren't you? Let's just say I have a certain influential affiliation. And leave it at that. Basically, you want that Aurora moved, I'm your guy. Right down to business! And no small talk. I like it. Now listen up, because I'm not going to repeat myself. I need you to deal with a miner who's racked up a bunch of debt. He probably spent it all on booze, not that I blame him. Either way, I want that money back. What do I need to do here? Write you an instruction manual? You can do this loud, you can do this quiet. I don't care. I just want my goddamn money, and I want this guy to remember who he screwed over! Feel free to throw as many credits in my face as you want, but that isn't the point. We need to make an example out of this guy. His name's Carl Fielding. I think you'll find him wandering around the Deimos miners' quarters. Don't worry, you can't miss him. Just look for the most miserable-looking guy in the entire place.
I've warmed up to Mars since I came here.
What's up?
Being a miner is dreary. Being a mining executive is just bleak.
A strong community is stronger than
Something I can help you with? Adler Kemp. Who the heck is that?
Of course, I owe money. Unless you're independently wealthy. Everyone's in debt nowadays. I owe Deimos. I owe my landlord. I owe Galbank. Heck, I have a tab at Parsec Deep at Cespear. It's an endless list. So why don't you just leave me here? Let me get drunk and find someone else to bother. Okay?
Adler, you said? Nope. I think you have me mixed up with someone else. Look, I'm tired. It's been a long day in the mines. I just want to go home, wash off the dust, and relax. This has been fun, though.
Adler, Adler, Adler. Oh, wait. You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Sound good? Yeah? Well, I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. Look, I haven't got a single credit to spare right now. Okay? You can't squeeze blood from a stone. You know? Right? I'm a miner for Deimos. It's not what I was hoping for out of life. But here I am. Yeah, it's a lousy company. Pays me a salary. But I depend on the profit-sharing bonuses to keep food on the table for my family. Hey, now wait a second. Just because things are tough, and I might be spending my afternoons at the spear, it doesn't mean I don't care about my family. Adler doesn't get to judge me. No, he's just a low-life pirate who thinks he can push everyone around. Holy crap. Really? You'd do that for me? Wow. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. For everything. And don't worry. I'll never borrow anything from Adler again. I promise.
Red and orange. Everything's red and orange, as far as the eye can see.
I have a pen pal in the Atlantis. We've never met in person. She's still one of my best friends.
Mars is wrapped with resources, which means...
Have something for me? There, would you look at that? I knew that bum was holding out on me. He going to be a problem anymore? Or did he get the message? Nice, nice. You're kind of a natural at this. Leaning on deadbeats comes easy to you. I like that. You know, if you like this kind of work, I can get you more. A lot more. You think you can handle running with my, associates? If you haven't figured that out by now, then maybe you aren't cut out for our line of work. I'm interested? Come on. You're not shopping for real estate here. I'm offering you a crack at some real money. So can you handle it or what? That's what I'm talking about. I like your style. All right. I'll call ahead and get a hold of Nevamora. She's second to the big boss himself. Head out to Europa. You'll find her there. I suggest you listen to whatever she has to say. Oh, and I've taken care of that Aurora shipment for you too. Don't spend all that cash in one place.
Hey, it's my personal savior.
Yeah? What do you want now?
Howdy.
Don't want to get yourself with a loose grip on your equipment when one of those particle detonations goes off.
Neva, sit down, have a drink. So, smooth jump into the Soul system? UC security hassle you?
Cut the crap, Adler, and let's make this quick. There's only so long I can stand a stink of minor sweat and stale beer.
Okay, take it easy. Here's the fleet's kickback, just like I promised.
What is this bullshit? This is half. Half of what you promised.
No reason to get upset, sweetie. Security around Sidonia's been cracking down, and it's tough to get the Deimos marks to play ball. That means I'm spending big on bribes, covering lost shipments. This isn't exactly like running a pharmacy out here, you know.
Two things, Adler. And I will make this simple enough so even a total imbecile like yourself can understand. One, I don't give a damn about your excuses. You owe us the agreed amount on time every month. And two, you call me sweetie ever again, and I'll shove my knife so far up your ass that people will mistake you for a unicorn.
Okay. Sorry, Neva. I'll make it work. Here's the rest.
That's more like it. I'll see you in a month. Wow. Look who finally had the guts to show up. Looks like Adler finally did something right for once. So, big shot. I hear Adler thinks you're good enough to join our crew. To Adler? Sure. But for all I know, you're just his latest impulse buy. Still, I'm feeling generous. So I'm gonna give you a chance to prove you're not a total waste of cabin air. We'll see. When the waters get deep, it's sink or swim. So, before I put you to work, let's get everything out in the open. I don't know if Adler mentioned it, and for his sake, I hope he hasn't. But you aren't about to sign up with any average pirate crew. You're signing up with the Crimson Fleet. That's if you get through this little task I have planned for you. There's a medical supply ship called the Ragana, jumping into Enceladus's orbit. On board that ship, you'll find a traitor named Austin Rake. I want him dead. There's a lesson in this. I need you to learn what'll happen if you decide to turn your back on the fleet. Consider it your glimpse into a possible, unfortunate future. So you'd better pay close attention. This job isn't about the loot, but I suppose every dog needs its scraps. Keep whatever worthless junk is on that ship. Just remember, the only thing that matters is that Rake dies. Kill Rake? That's your only option? If you want my advice, there's only one way to guarantee he dies. Turn the Ragana into space junk. Only way to be sure. It's done when Rake stops breathing. Head back here when you're finished. And don't keep me waiting for long. Rake used to run with the fleet. Hell, I'm the one who vouched for him in the first place. Back then he had a different name and a different identity. He was a damn good earner, too. Brought in a ton of creds. Everything was fine until he wanted out. So he ran. And nobody, I mean, nobody, runs away from the fleet. I've been tracking Rick for months. He's making it tough, not gonna lie. He changes his location and identity so often, it's costing me a small fortune just to keep tabs. But you know what? It's worth every damn cred. He's made me look like a fool in front of Delgado, and I'm gonna have his head on a pike.
Pilot of the Regana. We are a simple transport ship heading to New Homestead. We do not want any trouble. I was afraid of that. Look, we are not built for combat. What is it you want exactly? Well, normally I would say no, but frankly, it will be safer for us that way. All right, you can dock. We will talk then.
I am not sure what to make of you being here. If you wanted to kill us, you could have done that from your ship. If you wanted our cargo, we could have jettisoned it. I guess I should just stop talking and let you say your piece. That is true. Which means you don't want somebody to know what you are really up to. Now, do you mind telling us what this is all about? You really do not know which one of us is Rake, do you? And you do not seem to care either, which makes me think you really want to save him. Okay, I have idea. We can strike his name from Manifest, make it so he was never on board. Then, when we dock, we will leave him on this ship and deliver him to another port. That is fair. We do not want any part of the fleet. Is that all right with you, Austin?
Do I have a choice?
It does not appear you do. Well then, it is agreed. You go back to your ship and we will make sure Rake was never on ours. And in case any of your handlers get suspicious, here. We had an extra crate of supplies loaded, in case one got damaged. This should be proof you were not here to bargain.
Thank you for letting us go.
Damn Mercs just don't know how to take a hit. Hey, Brooke, wanna help me with some target practice? Thanks for the help with the Cliptic. I had it under control, but it definitely went faster after you jumped into the fight. Now tell me about the Rakana. Give me some good news, then we can go celebrate. Mercenaries? Guns for hire that shoot their own parents if they were paid enough. I'll tell you, we do a hell of a lot of dirty work in the Crimson Fleet, but we'd never sell away our souls like an ecliptic merc does. You know what? I have no idea, and it's frustrating the hell out of me. I suppose I could have pissed off someone I screwed over in the past, but there's been so many, I've lost count. Huh. No kidding. That'll make Delgado happy, seeing as our hands are clean. I would have preferred if you hadn't left witnesses behind, but at least you got the job done. Anyway, you wanted into the Crimson Fleet? Well, you're in. Yep, it's that simple. Hope this business with Rakes taught you something. Because I'm about to stick my neck out and vouch for you. If you screw up, and I wind up looking like an asshole, I'm gonna send someone after you. We clear? Yeah? Last person who said that was Rake. So you've already dug yourself a hole about 6 feet deep. And now that you know the deal, it's time to see what you signed up for. I'm gonna upload the coordinates for our headquarters in the Crick system. Spacers call it the key, the fleet calls it home. Head out there as soon as you can. Don't keep me waiting long.
Commander Ikande wants to see you. Follow me. I had a friend on the Regana. I hope I'll be able to see him next time we're on shore leave.
Orders came down. Some new science division policy. Everyone on board's to look out for heat leeches. Consider yourself informed. Hey. First mission in the books and no casualties.
We got the message from the Regana about Austin Rick. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for. That's something we're looking into, but it doesn't seem like he knows much. He might be better served as bait. For now, we'll keep him in the brig. Perhaps you could pay him a visit there sometime? I'm sure he'd be pleased to see you. That's a smart line to follow. Part of this role you're playing means having to make hard choices. Just remember not to lose yourself in the part. Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Neva's ship. There was concern after what happened with the Regana that you might have trouble earning Neva's trust. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem. They are mercenaries for hire. If they are paid enough money, Ecliptic would attack the Vigilance. It wasn't terribly difficult to convince them to attack an isolated Crimson Fleet ship. Just expensive. Ah, so I take it you have good news. Were you able to join the fleet? Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission.
Our intel on Saoirse was correct. After we received reports on your interaction with Adler Kemp, we picked up on your rendezvous with Neva Mora.
Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on her good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet. The woman has a record that could stretch across Sol and back. She started young as one of Neon's street rats, and worked her way up to second in command. She's a force to be reckoned with, so don't underestimate her. Yes, you passed your first test and you're still alive. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down.
And their ruthlessness is only surpassed by their cunning. You should proceed with caution, regardless of how well you think you've ingratiated yourself.
So what's next for you on Neva's agenda? The Vigilance is equipped with one of the most advanced intelligence suites in the UC fleet. Nothing slips through. You can rest assured, if the Crimson Fleet had any access to our whereabouts or had infiltrated our security, we'd know. As long as you're here, your identity is safe. Where you'll meet Delgado, no doubt.
Delgado is the leader of the Crimson Fleet. I have a profile here with some information on his background. You'll want to know the individual cadences of every member of the fleet, but Delgado's most of all.
In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the quay. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future.
Sir, on that note, shall we begin implementing the upgrade to our shields?
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It certainly increased my estimates on success. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed.
Back in basic training, I had the record for
The fleet killed a buddy of mine. This is more.
Yeah? I have an important personal decision to make, but I need to discuss something with you first. No, not at all. This is something that's been weighing on my mind for a long time. I was hoping if I talked about it with you, I could get your opinion. That's all. Phew, thank you. So, where to start? Before I was with the Navigator Corps, I was career military, part of the United Colonies Navy. When the Colony War broke out, I was posted as the chief navigator on a warship, the Dauntless. In my case, I was third in command, which has a lot to do with the story. There was a particularly bloody battle. We were fighting over a world in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Worst fighting I'd ever seen. We lost 12 ships that day. 12. Including my own. Economic reasons. Several of the worlds in the Cassiopeia system were mineral-rich. Both sides wanted to drop refinery outposts on the surface to bolster their supply. With hundreds of lives lost on both sides, I'd argue there were no winners at all. Now let me finish. The ship was barely intact. The captain and first mate died the previous day, which put me in command. A shrewd captain would have called for the crew to abandon ship, but I was so angry. I wanted to stay. I needed to fight. The Dauntless was a tough little ship. No shields and the hull was breached, but it still had power. And weapons. That's why I remained in the battle. Huge mistake. Well, I didn't have the luxury of indecision. I had to act. We fought for hours, but the damage was fatal. I gave the order to abandon ship and the crew piled into the escape shuttle. As the shuttle launched, I could see it was damaged. I heard screams before the radio cut. The last thing I saw, they were spiraling helplessly towards the planet's surface. There was nothing I could do. You're sorry. For me? If I hadn't been so stubborn, so eager to prove that I could handle command, my crew would have had more time to escape. My superiors. When the dust settled, the United Colonies gave me a medal. Can you believe that? A damn medal. I never even had a chance to find the shuttle wreckage and give my crew a proper burial. After I checked every section of the ship for wounded crew, I took the other escape shuttle. If I hadn't, I would have died. The Dauntless came apart minutes after I escaped. That's true, but still, it doesn't erase the real issue here. Remember when you said no one but me would have pushed harder to keep the Navigator core going? Well, this time, pushing too hard cost lives. Don't you get it? Everything I do, everything I touch, somehow falls apart. That's why I'm worried about us. Look, it's clear the two of us are becoming more than partners. We're becoming close friends. Even though I've pushed people away in the past, I feel different when I'm around you. I feel safer, comfortable, not afraid to admit who I am. I'm terrified I'm going to screw that up. After everything you've heard, all my stories, you still have faith. No one's ever cared about me this much. Not even Asha. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about our relationship, how we've clearly become close. I practiced what I was going to say when the moment was right, and now that it's here, my mind's gone blank. Look, you deserve the best. Someone who can give themselves to you entirely. But right now, I have too much baggage, too much on my mind. I hope you'll forgive me for pushing you away. I just need time.
Your safe return to the...
On 40% of 10 versus 30.
You wanted 4K, you got 4K. Not my problem.
If you're stealing from me, you bet your ass it's your problem.
You kidding me? Way to make a mess in front of my new rook.
Hey, steal from me and get caught. Better off dead.
Sounds like you did the fleet a favor. Now toss this body out of an airlock before it turns into a damn air freshener. The hell took you so long? Forget how to grav jump or something? Please. It'd be one less sloppy rook whose mess I had to clean up. The last thing I need is another Austin rake getting cold feet. You want to leave the fleet? You pay the price. Not in credits, but in blood. Fair enough. Glad to see you showing some backbone. Just be careful that you can back up that attitude before you square off with someone who can kick your ass. But, all that aside, you made it. So now, you get to hear a nifty history lesson. Pencils ready? Good. This floating scrap heap you're standing on is called the Key. Used to be an old UC military star station, and now it's the fleet's base of operations. Might look a little beat up on the outside, but we keep it together. Sure did. Right out from under their noses. Way before you or I were born, though. We've held this station for a very long time. Don't worry. Delgado will tell you all about it. You think? And that's only part of it. I'll let Delgado fill you in on the whole story. He tells it better anyway. But I can give you the short version while we walk the station. Anyway, I'll tell you all about the Key. But it's better if I show you too. Follow me. All right. History time. So, the Key is in orbit around Suvorov. That's the very same ice ball where the United Colonies built a supermax prison they call the Lock. The UC is so clever. Supermax prison, Lock, Key. Cute, huh? Now, we've got everything the fleet needs right here. Of course, you've got to pay for it. Remember, on the Key, credits are king. What the hell is this?
All right, hang on, Nev. Before you get pissed, I've got my hands full.
Jasmine, sweetie, I'm trying to give a tour here. So you want to tell me why those damn doors are sealed?
It's called a malfunction. You know, that thing I spend most of my day dealing with. Believe me, my people are on it. Have a little faith for once.
Aw. And you always, Angel. This here's Jasmine. You need anything for your ship, she's got you covered. We'll hit up the depot next since these doors have given out on us. So anyway, we were talking about the Lock. About 100 years ago, the prisoners down there rioted and took over the place. After stealing some ships, they were actually able to make it up here and took over the Key.
About time you brought us new blood, Neva. I was getting tired of trading with the same old faces.
You're just ticked everyone's getting wise to your ridiculous prices, Aludra. Anyway, welcome to the depot, Rook, where you'll be lucky if these blood-sucking leeches don't bleed you completely dry.
Whoa. It's not our fault that people don't appreciate how much it costs to get untraceable merchandise onto the Key.
Neva's just whining because she thinks she lost a ton of cash selling us a shipment of gear. She should have done her homework.
Yeah, sure, laugh it up. I'll remember that next time I need something from you cheapskates. Let's move on. Back to my story. After the liberated prisoners grabbed the Key, they established it as a base of operations and began pirating the spaceways. That was how the Crimson Fleet began. Of course, Jasper Cricks had a lot to do with all that, but we'll get to him later. Rook, meet Zuri, Queen of the Rare Exports.
If I don't have it, you don't need it.
Neuroamps, blueprints. Hit her up and she'll take care of you.
Speaking of which, you still owe me for that last purchase, Neva. It's like 5 figures. Don't make me collect it the hard way.
The hard way? Oh no. Rook, protect me from Zuri's vengeance. Enough of the bullshit, Zuri. I'll pay you when I pay you. Deal with it. Got a problem with that? Take it up with the boss.
See
On the
anything
right,
you like?
you've got Bradley from the Trade Authority. I'm sure you know the deal there. He'll buy pretty much anything, no matter how hot. Then we got our med bay on the left, run by the one and only Samina Mizra. She'll patch you up, if you've got the money. We don't run any free clinics up in here, you don't? Okay, this is our final stop. Over there, you've got the Last Nova, where Bog serves watered-down drinks at ridiculously exorbitant prices. And right here is the most important place on the entire station, the Reckoner's Core, run by the incomparable Shinya Voss.
Another new rook, Neva? I can't believe Delgado still lets you recruit given what happened with the last one.
You mean Austin Rake? It's been taken care of, all right? I don't like loose ends, and this rook is the one who tied it off.
Perhaps next time you'll try to be a bit more discerning regarding your choices. It's far more cost-effective.
Yeah, love you too, darling. Anyway, Shinya handles our lifeblood, the money. We call him our Reckoner, but if you ask me, he's actually a pain in the ass.
And Neva will slit your throat if she thinks you'll bleed creds.
Go to hell, boss. Take care of our new friend here, or I'll find a way to pull the pin on that little party popper in your chest. Anyway, Shinya will get you set up in our system. I've got real work to do. Once you're done, head upstairs and I'll introduce you to the boss.
Time for a proper introduction. I am Shinya Voss, the official reckoner for the Crimson Fleet. And since Neva so thoughtfully mentioned it, yes, this is a bomb embedded in my chest. And no, I'll never know the meaning of the word humble. In fact, I find Delgado's idea of a security measure to be quite empowering. I see the bomb as a symbol of my importance, and it's a constant reminder to everyone of the sacrifice I was willing to make. The freedom I've given up, the pain, it's not something that just anyone has the resolve to bear. Glad you approve. Obviously, betrayal isn't taken lightly around here. Since I oversee the bulk of transactions and maintain all accounts for the fleet, I'm a prime target for information. Should our enemies capture me or I grew any semblance of a moral conscience, you might consider me the greatest threat we have. For Delgado, the bomb grants peace of mind and a certain degree of safety. Essentially, but I sleep soundly knowing I'm one of the few that can piss Delgado off and live. Should I die, all of my knowledge, the accounts, the credits, it would be a mess. He wouldn't dare. He holds the trigger, but we all know that my death cripples the fleet. Call the bomb a weapon of last resort. It's why he's the boss. Of course, I'm not the first reckoner to bear a bomb under my ribcage, but Delgado was smart enough to continue the tradition. Now, let me get you set up. A moment while I convene with the core. Thanks to advanced modifications even Bugin would envy, I can interface directly with our mainframe and the Galbank network. This allows me to move and clean credits faster and more efficiently than any run-of-the-mill cyber runner. There, you're done. All you need now is Delgado's blessing, and you'll be one of us. None. Other than my chest and arm modifications, I am but a simple man. Is the interview over now? Can we get back to work? The perfect segue into my final subject. Thanks to our relations with contacts across the galaxy, we always have a steady stream of jobs available. I've granted you all the necessary permissions to access these listings at any time. using the computers that surround the core. Oh, you know, smuggling, piracy, taking things that aren't yours. Nothing that should keep you up at night. Well, depending on your methods. If Neva's chosen wisely, we certainly will. Now, I believe that covers all I have to say, so you can run along to Delgado. Take the elevator to the upper level. You should be able to find your way from there, I hope.
All right, listen up. You can all stop complaining. Atrium to cargo bay doors have been repaired. Oh, and you're welcome, Nev.
Ah, there's our other new recruit. So, now that we are all here, it's time to get down to business. The two of you are the only rooks that have made the latest cut. The rest, well, let's just say they won't be joining us ever again. Neva's willing to put her neck on the line and vouch for you, which means you've got what it takes to join the Crimson Fleet. You'd better not disappoint, or you'll find yourself answering to me, personally. All right, let's get started here. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, you're in it for the long haul. No one quits. No one retires. The only way out is death. You stay loyal, or you pay the consequences. Fleet before friends. Fleet before family. Fleet before yourself. Of course we have rules. If you think the Crimson Fleet was built on a lawless dream, think again. Our influence, our money, our respect comes from meticulous planning and every last soul in the fleet following my orders to the letter. That is why you need to learn to place the fleet before everything. Boss. Good. You're getting it already. I like that.
Can we get on with this? I want to get drunk at the last Nova.
I am impressed. That is the first intelligent thing you have said this entire time, Mathis. Since you two seem so eager to move forward, let's get to your next job. Pack your cold weather gear, Rooks. Where we are going, you're going to need it.
Oh, God, don't tell me you're dragging him down to Suvarol for another one of your little initiation runs. 10 Johns to the surface, 12 dead Rooks. You'd think by now you would have given up on that goddamn campfire story.
Crix's legacy is no story, Neva. We've got fresh eyes in the fleet. And if these two want to impress, they're going to help me search those ruins.
I hope you're right, Dale. That new code we grabbed for the lot cost us a ton of credits. And a decent captain.
This initiation, as Neva calls it, is your chance to see where it all began. On Suvorov with Jasper Crix. Crix led the riots that gave birth to the Crimson Fleet. And if his legacy is still out there, we're going to be the ones to find it. Through a bit of luck and a hell of a lot of cash, Neva was able to get her hands on an access code to the inside of the lock. This will be the first time someone from the Crimson Fleet has set foot in there for, well, since Crix left the place behind. It has been frustrating being this close to potential clues, but not being able to find a way through those prison walls. Of course. Where else could I find such a perfect location to weed out any rooks who'd be wasting the fleet's time? What? Were you expecting a goddamn graduation ceremony? Think I'm just going to slap a skull on you and send you on your way? Make no mistake, you are being tested all the time. Every job you take will be under constant scrutiny. And Neva? Oh, she's just waiting for you to screw things up. Before Crix left the fleet, he left a message talking about a major score. One that would set up the fleet to be a big player in the settled systems. Somewhere down the line, they started calling it Crix's Legacy. And everyone who's tried to find it has wound up empty-handed, missing, or dead. If we're gonna beat those odds, we'll first need a lead. And I would wager we will find one on Suvorov.
Dale's leaving out the best part. That this whole search is based on a handful of words on a very old slate. Crix left a lot of big talk on that recording, and not a lot of facts. Some of us believe in it more than others.
Don't listen to her. When we get our hands on Crix's Legacy, the fleet will be operating at a completely different level. We will become more than a match for UC Sysdef. Listen to the words that I am saying. The legacy is real. You will find that out in due time, provided you're willing to put in the work. Nothing worth having ever comes easy. You forget the UC is still licking its wounds from the colony wars. They don't have the capability to mount a full-scale assault. And if they were foolish enough to attack, we would have the manpower to push those pendejos right back to Jemison. If we have Crix's Legacy. Exactly. Now you're beginning to understand. Okay, enough discussion. We have got a lot of work to do. To that end, the next stop is the lock. I've had Jazz feed the coordinates into your ship's computer. Since Mathis doesn't have a ship, he's going to ride with me. I'll see you down there, Rook. Don't keep me waiting. Yeah, what is it? There is no deal. You and Mathis are two sides of the same coin. A couple of rooks fighting for a spot in the fleet. Only problem is that he is down a ship and you are not, which puts you ahead. Just barely. Who knows? Maybe he'll get lucky and you won't make it off Suvorov in one piece. It's cold. Bitter cold. Just about the last place you would want to find yourself without heat. The few living things that can survive the extreme temperatures are constantly fighting to stay at the top of the food chain. The Crimson Fleet called Suvorov the White Hell. To me, it's paradise. Someone up here pisses me off enough, I send them down to the surface for a little overnight visit. Snaps them right back into line. The UC built the Lock as a supermax prison a little under... well, it must have been at least 100 years ago. Before that, those concha de sus madres marooned prisoners on the planet's surface and left them to their own devices. As you can imagine, these turned into some kind of demented survival of the fittest. Prisoners killing each other for a chance at meager supplies. Luckily, some whistleblowers back in New Atlantis saw this as cruel and unusual punishment and pressured the UC into building the facility. 5 years after the prison was completed, Crix touched off the riots that overran the Lock and eventually the Key. Nobody knows exactly what went down. I mean, there's all sorts of rumors. Crix was in prison for almost 5 years, and judging from the look of the facility, every moment must have been miserable. I suppose he just got fed up and decided to take matters into his own hands. Got the prisoners behind him and kept pushing until he reached the Key. The cojones on that guy. UC's toughest supermax prison, and he just waltzed the hell out of there like it was nothing. I would love to have been a part of that. Fine, then get moving.
family. Stealing from each other is just what you call a professional courtesy.
Sabina do the surgery and take all the credit. Need a drink? Bug at the last Nova will be more than happy to take your credit.
Were my instructions unclear? What do you want?
Tell us what the future holds for the Crimson Fleet.
Changes are coming, Gale. Huge changes. Crimson Fleet will soon be a much bigger player in this little game between the members of the settled systems.
That's quite a bold statement. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, let's just say that I'm on the brink of a score so large, it makes everything else pale in comparison. Beyond that, you'll just have to wait and see.
If you aren't willing to discuss the details, why grant SSNN this interview?
Simple. I refuse to allow the UC to spin or bury the story, making it sound like they're in complete control of the situation. I'm gonna tell you right now, they aren't.
Why does the Crimson Fleet need to make this mysterious move that you're being so evasive about?
I know SysDef instructed you to draw this meeting out as long as possible. So let me sum this up. I intend to make sure that the Crimson Fleet becomes the United Colony's worst nightmare. And nothing, I mean nothing in this universe, will stop me from achieving that goal.
There are those that would disagree with you and claim this interview is grandstanding, or worse, a recruitment tool. After all, SSNN reaches every corner of the settled systems, and your aspirations could inspire the Directionalists to turn to the fleet.
You and the sheep that listen to your garbage can believe whatever the hell you want. If you were so worried about what I had to say, you wouldn't have allowed yourself to be brought here.
Don't you have business on Silverall?
Delgado. Came down to it, I back him up.
Doesn't matter what I think. I just keep my head down and my weapon hot. You should do the same.
Hey, I like taking chances.
Let me just ask you one final question before we wrap up.
Fine. Go ahead.
When is enough going to be enough? How many credits does Jasper Cricks need until he's satisfied?
I should have expected you'd ask such a stupid question. How the hell could you ever understand? You with your fancy education and your sheltered upbringing and your cushy media job? Me, I came from nothing. Everything I own, I've literally drawn blood to gain.
There's no need to get personal. I'm simply trying to state the facts so that our listeners can make judgments of their own.
Lady, I got news for you. Half of your listeners think I'm a hero. The other half are scared out of their goddamn minds, and they should be.
Perhaps we should talk about something else.
No, that's it. We're done. Can you guys get her the hell out of here? Make sure she takes all this sound equipment with her.
Well, that's it then. Thank you for your...
Actually, before you go, Gail, there's one more thing I would like to say.
Yes, of course. What is it?
When you broadcast this interview on SSNN, I want you to remember that I'll be listening. If you edit even one word or manipulate my voice to change anything I've said, I will hunt you down and kill you. In front of everyone. Do you understand?
I understand. You have my word.
You can do whatever you want. Me, I like staying alive.
So wait, say that again. You think I'm who?
Stop playing games. We both know your real name is Leonel Soto, and you know why I'm here.
Who are you? Fleet? Ecliptic? An independent?
I've spent 2 long years and every credit I had looking for you, just so I could look you in the eye before I pulled the trigger.
Hey, what's with the gun? There must be some mistake. I honestly don't know who you are.
Of course you don't know who I am. You're never concerned with the death you leave in your wake, in your pursuit of greed. You killed my husband, you son of a bitch! And now I'm going to kill you!
Such a terrible shame. All that time and money she wasted. Ah, well. Better get rid of the body.
In the fleet, you either put up, shut up, or die. Your choice.
A lot of us in the fleet came out of the mud. We grind for every credit, and it shows.
Anything ship-related, you're at the right place.
Hey, champ. I'm including this month's list of parts I need for the key. Don't bust a gut, it's hefty, but I know you can handle it. I'm gonna need a lot more than usual this time. I'm planning to overhaul the entire electrical system before it completely shorts out. Oh yeah, thanks for sending over the key's reactor specs. I can't tell you exactly why I needed those. Dell said to keep it hush-hush. As far as next month's shipment, start scrounging up some parts so I can spruce up our defensive batteries. They're looking kind of rusty. Well, I guess that's it for now. I'll have my people in New Atlantis drop off the payment at the spaceport. Just make sure you aren't being followed. We wouldn't want the UC to know they're providing replacement parts to the Crimson Fleet.
Need something?
I heard Isla's sister is some hardcore mercenary. I wouldn't get on her bad side.
Always ask for a bigger cut. It's all about making those credits.
Something's wrong with the shield. Like they aren't even there.
Well, so, looks like we got ourselves a new rook. Once again, I'm Jazz, resident engineer here. Like Neva said, you need ship parts, repairs? I'll hook you up. As long as your credits are good. Neva's the only one who calls me that, amongst other things. To you and everyone else, it's just plain old Jazz. Neva's mine, so don't be getting any ideas. She may be a little rough around the edges, but she's just looking out for her own. There's no one better to have your back. It may not be wider, but it's not on the books, if that's what you're getting at. I can guarantee your ship will be in good hands, so if you're looking for an upgrade, let me know. We got the best selection in the settled systems. Illegal, unregistered, recalled. We sell it all. No questions asked. No. You buy from me, you're worry-free. I can't have my customers getting caught now, can I? That's bad for business. Anything that keeps the UC and Freestar Rangers off your tail is a must-have in my book. Just let me know when you want to talk business. Serious enough that you don't have a chance in hell? Neva's got a fire in her. The kind you only see in an engine pushed to its limit. She doesn't half-ass a damn thing, and I love her for it. Truth is, the fleet rescued me. Of course, I wouldn't have needed rescuing if they hadn't blown up the ship I was working on. Delgado plucked me out of space and brought me to the key. I took one look at the place and was compelled to work. Soon after, he offered me a permanent spot with the fleet. All business and no fun, huh? What do you need? Shop's always open as long as your money's good.
I always thought heat leeches were just pests. Never considered trying to raise one as a pet.
What you thinking of doing after all this?
I don't know.
Probably take my cut, hop onto a transport, and get as far away from nosy scumbags like you as I possibly can.
Where did your stellar rise to infamy begin?
In the streets of New Atlantis. No parents, no godparents. Just a homeless punk kid robbing whoever he could for the credits.
Were these violent crimes? Murders?
I'm a bit offended you even asked that question, Gail. Sure, a few people here and there walked away with injuries, but I'm not some kind of butcher.
That doesn't sound as heartless as your reputation would imply.
Well, like I said, I was just a kid.
Were you ever caught by the authorities in New Atlantis?
Oh, dozens of times. But I'd just give them a fake name, or they just slap me on the wrist and send me on my way. They obviously didn't think that I'd amount to anything, and didn't want to waste their time with rehabilitation.
What changed that? Was it the robbery in 2218?
2218. Oh, yeah. The Galbank archives. Very good, Gail. I see you've done your research. That would be when I rounded up a few of my buddies and we knocked the place over. Made off with a ton of credits. My first big score.
Is that why the Crimson Scar decided to bring you into their ranks?
That's right. They brought me in, taught me the ropes, and I did crimes for them for 5 years. Till I decided I wanted more. I got rid of their leader, put myself in his place, and started running the show. I've been the one in charge ever since.
Was it absolutely necessary to cut his throat and leave the body on a public street in the well?
On the street, reputation is everything. I wanted everyone in the city to know that Jasper Cricks was taking over. I think they got the message.
Are you looking to start something? Because I'll finish it.
Yeah?
We call UCC staff sharks, but to the fleet, they're just bait.
If you need credits, hit up the mission boards at the core.
The right protective gear can make all the difference. Well, only the best tactical gear to protect your ass this side of the galaxy. Metal plated for when you're up against bullets. Leather for those jobs that might require a subtle touch. All made by yours truly, of course, except for a few used odds and ends that no one's gonna miss.
Yeah, that was your first
But me? Nah, not anymore. When it comes to aim, there ain't no one worse. True facts. I mean, my friends like to say I'd have better luck talking someone to death than shooting them. Yep, my talents are best suited for making protective gear. Helmets, vests, suits. You could say I'm a tailor, not a fighter. Well, only the best protective gear you can find. Hi, I'm here if you need me.
Weapons for all occasions. Well, well. Neva's new hotshot. I knew you'd find your way back to my little corner of the key. Everyone always does. Take a look around, genius. And don't tell me you've never laid eyes on a gun before. But just in case I need to spell it out for you, the merch I carry is known as weapons and ammunition. Get it? Good thing I'm not here to impress. I carry most of the standard hardware. You know, kinetics, electromags, energy, even a few explosives. Occasionally, I stock a few smuggled items. Basically the stuff SysDev doesn't want you to play with. Just don't screw me over or I'll be inclined to give you a free demo. With your head as the target. Oh, we all have trust issues here. A little advice, Sadiqi? The fleet's trust can't be bought. You earn it. You bleed for the fleet bleeds for you. Pure and simple. Anyone who says otherwise is either lying or getting ready to stab you in the back. Ah, please, I don't need your concern. All I care about is separating you from your credits. So let's leave our professional relationship at that, all right? Weapons of all shapes and sizes to handle jobs large and small. Ammo too, of course. I'd argue Boggs got me beat as far as customer base goes. But when it comes to profit, I am on top. A good gun's what makes all the difference out there sometimes. And for some, it's the only thing they'll ever trust. If your credits are good, I'm open. All right, see you around.
Smuggling beats a real
The right gear. Stay safe out there.
I've got what you need. Take your pick. Need more weapons or ammo? Come see me.
I don't need to hear about your latest project. I just sell the materials. I don't do small talk. You want to do business? We'll do business. You want to chat? Go see Bog. It's a general store, which means I sell general goods. Mostly junk that no one else wants to carry. Raw materials, blueprints, spare parts. Fascinating, I know. Behold, my random assortment. Oh, bye, this.
I hope you came with credits. I sell a little bit of everything, but only if it's hard to find, and only for a high price. Neuroamps, a few unique resources, maybe a specialized weapon or two. Anything that's rare and in high demand. I was raised fleet. My mama joined up when I was 12. She was a first-class smuggler. We'd always lived comfortably, but she took the offer to join when a job almost went south. She figured if anything ever happened to her, it'd guarantee I'd still have a home. Hell no. The two things I don't want in this life? A real boss and customers that I can't shoot in the face if they piss me off. Del lets me do what I want to here, as long as he knows I'm loyal to the fleet. I sell what I want, I work when I want, I do what I want. And I wouldn't have it any other way. My mama taught me everything I need to know to get by in this world. I may not have fancy degrees, but I know how to survive and live the life I want to live, which is more than I can say for most of the people in the settled systems. We can talk about whatever you want, as long as you got the creds. Don't be a stranger.
Vault grog is fine if you like cheap moonshine. Give me an herb.
Trade Authority takes anything and everything. What'll it be, friend? Buying, selling? The Trade Authority takes anything and everything. Well, a well-kept appearance gives the impression of a respectable establishment. The more respectable the place, the more credits people are willing to pay. Yeah, like you don't know. Oh, you really don't know, do you? To the public, we promote free trade throughout the galaxy. You see, Freestar Independent, doesn't matter. To you and your friends here, same rules still apply. We buy and sell any goods, no questions asked. The fleet's got an impressive commerce system. They even managed a legitimate doctor among their ranks. Business on the Key is like no other. It's the sole reason I'm here, for the credits. I'd say it's been about 10 years now since the Trade Authority assigned me this post. It felt a little extreme at the time, but I can see why they figured it was a good fit. It's the mutual benefit. The Trade Authority buys any goods of value. We don't care how you got it, only that we can profit from it. It's the fastest way to turn your hard-earned loot into legitimate credits, ready to spend. So, naturally, it made sense to establish a presence here. Why risk flying into New Atlantis or Aquila City when you can just do business here? Not everyone thinks so. I'm still Trade Authority, not a part of the fleet. There are a few, Neva included, that see me as an outsider. Regardless, as long as the fleet has goods to push, the Trade Authority will always maintain a presence on the Key. Let's just say I've done my fair share of questionable activities in the past. With the credits I amassed, I gave the Trade Authority a sizable donation in exchange for a clean slate and a stable job. So, here I am, at your service. I left a similar lifestyle behind when I joined the Trade Authority, and never looked back. A lot of the rooks here see freedom and lawlessness, but that's only if you don't get caught. True freedom is not having a bounty on your head, with every cop and mercenary out to get you. I'm sure we can work something out. If you find anything of value, bring it here first.
Sharks are too scared to take the key.
from jazz or weapons from a local?
If I had a burial...
Certainly. Let's talk about something else. How did the Crimson Scar become the Crimson Fleet?
After I busted out of the lock, I decided to take things to the next level. I had the key, a few UC ships, and a couple dozen ex-cons at my side. But I needed more, so I sent out the call. Once word got around, it didn't take long for freelance pirates from every corner of the settled systems to show up.
And this is how the Crimson Fleet was born.
Exactly. The key became our base of operations. We spent months reinforcing our position there, making it nearly impossible to approach.
What was the UC's response to the situation?
First of all, UC Security gave up and handed the reins over to the big guns, the UC Navy. The Navy, in turn, sent ships to attack the key. I'd say there have been 3 major attacks over the last few years. And as you can tell by the fact we're having this interview, all the attacks were embarrassing failures.
Do you feel these embarrassing failures led them to form UC Systems?
Absolutely. They've clearly given up and decided to shove the responsibility onto a separate division. That way, in the public eye, the UC Navy can move forward, proud and strong, while UC SysDef continually takes all the blame. It's all about PR spin for them, Gale. That's how the UC operates. Kinda disgusting, don't you think?
Sounds a bit like you're trying to deflect attention off the atrocities the Crimson Fleet commits on a daily basis.
Atrocities, huh? How about fighting the Freestar Collective over a bunch of rocks hanging in space? How about thousands of people dying while a bunch of pencil-pushing bastards sit in a cushy office and draw lines on a star map? Maybe the United Colonies should stop the bullshit and take a hard look in the mirror to see who the monsters really are.
I'd run my own city, like they. Except with my town. It's just we were thinking. Why is it when you go out and do a job, it's you who ends up with all our friends?
My friend's got a point, Bob. Every pirate in this joint comes to the ball for a drink.
Seems to me, instead of trawling deep space for stick change, we got a much bigger target right here at home.
Jingle in those pockets, Bob.
Every time I see Ramsey smile, I
I'll let him to start something, cause I'll finish it.
Express permission to blow your heads off and serve the guns as sushi. Now, either buy a drink or get the hell out. What'll it be?
Juan said I ain't allowed to run New Atlantis jobs. Those are some of the best profits.
What happened? Maybe it wasn't.
All I did was try to get a little extra credits on the side. I didn't think a few more crates in the hold would make that big a difference.
Are you mad? Waste one of the first signs of a problem. If those numbers were right, security would be all over. I was wondering when you'd wander my way. The name's Fergus Wickham, but you can call me Bob. Welcome to the last Nova, where the drinks are never free. Got her back in my experimental days. Before we fixed up Nova, she was a real boggy mess. Practically an indoor swamp. I figured some of what's growing around here could make some decent booze. Some might say I only got the booze part right. Guilty? You name it, I got it. Although, I can't speak to quality. We don't believe in expiration dates here as long as it gets the job done. As long as you're buying, stay as long as you like. The last Nova never sleeps, so no last call here. Since it's your first time with us, I'm willing to make an exception to the rule and offer you my speciality. On the house. 1 free bottle of Bog's Grog. That's the spirit. I knew you'd be the adventurous type. And if you like it, you're in luck. Cheapest drink you can find, and guaranteed to drown those sorrows. Nova wasn't always the lovely sight you see before you. She used to be a hydro farm, and put up quite a fight when we decided to give her a makeover. Overgrown water everywhere. Almost gave up. But what's a proper home without a pub, eh? Now that's a trade secret, mate. And a homegrown one at that. But nothing to worry about. I've been serving it up going on 20 years now. Only things that kill my customers are bullets and stupidity. Bog's Grog and anything else your heart desires. Next time you need a pint, come and find me.
Always ask for a bigger cut.
If you got any spare creds, you just need to unload.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gail Dunnigan of SSNN, and this is Galactic Talk. My guest tonight is one of the most notorious criminals in the settled systems. His ruthlessness and desire for wealth has landed him squarely at the top of the wanted list for every major law enforcement agency in the galaxy. I am, of course, speaking of the self-appointed leader of the Crimson Fleet himself, Jasper Crix. Good evening, Mr. Crix.
Good evening, Gail. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Yes, well, being blindfolded and then Grav jumped to what appears to be an abandoned mining facility isn't exactly what I'd call an invitation.
Well, I'm sure you're not surprised that your request for an interview would come with some very specific conditions.
Frankly, I was a bit surprised to receive any type of response at all. Would you mind telling me why you decided to do this interview?
Because there comes a time in every pirate's life where they have to make an extremely important decision. Do they take a leap and become one of the most legendary pirates in history? Or do they simply sputter on, subsisting on freighters and deep space privateers?
So are we to assume that you are taking the leap? That Jasper Crix is moving on to bigger and better things in his life?
That's spot on, Gail. That's exactly why you're here.
Interesting. Well then, would you mind sharing with us exactly what your particular leap entails?
In due time. There's no rush. In fact, I'd say we have at least 12 hours before the authorities trace this broadcast. Plenty of time to discuss whatever you like.
Oh, all right then.
Perhaps the best place to start this interview would be at the beginning of your career.
Please, proceed.
I like my weapons like I like my coffee. Scalding.
The fleet is family. Stealing from each other is just what you call a professional courtesy.
Yeah?
You see SysDef as a joke. They haven't caught us yet.
Is Mina seeing anyone right now?
Is something wrong? First time visiting the infirmary, huh? Let me give you a piece of advice. Try not to get into too many bar fights. I'm trying to save my dwindling supplies for sale and pirates coming in off of raids. I've done my time, but thanks to a malpractice suit, I've officially dropped the doctor title. Don't let that worry you. I'm still just as good, if not better, than half the surgeons at the clinic. That's what they all say, until they stumble in bleeding out on my floor. So here's what's what. You need medpacks, curatives, preventatives, I've got you covered. At least as long as my current supply holds out. You need enhancers, legal or illegal? I've got those too. In the fleet, someone has to do it, so it may as well be me. This way, I've got a good idea of who's on what and how much. If they come in for any real medical treatment, I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Hopefully, that won't be often. Now, if you don't need anything else, I've got a particularly annoying supply issue to deal with. You'd think most of the injuries I treat are from run-ins with security or civilians taking a stand. But I'd say at least half are just life on the key. Brawls, egos, and plain old stupidity. At least it keeps me busy. Now there's an offer I didn't expect. If you really want to help, I'm looking for someone who can handle themselves in a public setting. As in someone who knows how to get the job done without shooting up the place. That's not going to help. That ship was full of things like cots, flu shots, and children's vitamins. And I can't exactly plug a bullet wound with an Ashta chewable. Well, you'd be one of the first. I politely requested a list of supplies from Gennady Aton at the clinic and was told the price of business has gone up. I think he's back on Aurora, and he's upcharging me to pay for it. And if there's one thing I'm not going to do is subsidize his habit. I want you to make sure he delivers my supplies for the price we agreed on, but without raising any alarms. Oh, we will. But this way, I'm guaranteed the highest quality supplies from one of the best medical facilities in the settled systems. Plus, if Gennady does what he's supposed to do, he'll cover our tracks. We'll see. Talk is one thing, actions are another. Oh yeah, the funny thing is, he's the poster boy for upstanding moral citizens. Top of the class at nursing school, did volunteer work in backwater settlements, a reputation you could eat your food off of. Nobody knows he did it all zoned out of his mind. Nobody except his old boss, me. He said he got clean when he joined the clinic, but now I wonder. A bullshit one, yeah? Gennady claims prices have gone up for the clinic as a whole, and that I'm not the only doc being hit. He says if I want cheaper goods, I'm going to have to find another supplier. He even gave me a list. But I'm not turning to some third-rate doc selling meds out of their space truck. Gennady and I had a deal, and I want him to honor it. Sure, whatever keeps you off my operating table. Try not to die out there.
Always listen to Delgado. Unless you want to get killed all across the key. Rook?
So tell us about Jasper Cricks's version of the Crimson Scar.
All I can tell you is that under my guidance, the Crimson Scar became more influential than every other syndicate combined. Here I was, 22 years old, and I had power, people that followed my orders, and an endless stream of credits. Gale, I have to tell you, I was having the time of my life.
So you'd consider extortion, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, assault, and murder to be positive life influences?
No. I'd consider them as just means to an end. Those so-called crimes were merely stepping stones until I had enough wealth to buy the Crimson Scar a few spacecraft.
Yes, let's talk about that. It appears you weren't satisfied with terrorizing New Atlantis alone.
Oh, I've never stopped reaching, Gale. The amount of money we were making in New Atlantis was decent, but the really big scores were in space, on the cargo ships. We're talking millions of credits, maybe more. Who the hell could count it all?
Most people assume this is when the UC decided to actively set up a task force to pursue the Crimson Scar.
That's correct. Those idiots in charge of the United Colonies were clearly embarrassed that they had allowed the Crimson Scar to make the jump into space. They sent ships after us. Lots of ships. I almost think that they enjoy starting wars.
Perhaps this was the first time you had finally reached too far.
You could say that. I count my time running the Crimson Scar as a learning experience. I wouldn't say I reached too far. I'd say I reached too fast. Didn't cover all my bases. Made some stupid mistakes. One thing's for certain, though. When I was finally arrested and thrown into the lock, I had plenty to think about.
Tell us about your arrest.
Oh, my arrest was spectacular. Definitely one for the record books. UC Security sent an armada after our little fleet of ships and picked us off one by one until the remainder of us made it to the wheel.
For a listener's benefit, that was the star station in orbit around Voli that you destroyed just before your arrest, correct?
You see, that's what they'd have you believe, but the truth is much less sinister. There was a firefight on the wheel when they tried to bring us in. We holed up, but UC Security unleashed hell. The damage they caused was catastrophic. We only surrendered so we wouldn't die when the station exploded.
Well, the UC says you set demolition charges to try and cover your tracks and make your escape.
That's their story. You'll have to go with your gut on what you think really happened. Anyway, they took us in and tossed us into the lock. That lovely resort they opened on Suvorov.
And you were imprisoned there for how long?
Well, it was supposed to be for life, Gale. But I ended up serving 2 years before I decided I'd had enough.
Is there any particular reason that you started the riots that eventually led to the worst prison break in United Colonies history?
Yes. I'm quite proud of that, actually. I honestly didn't think it would go as well as it did. As for the reason, well, it's simple. The UC were treating us like animals. The conditions in the lock were ridiculously bad and no one cared. That's why they stuck us on that ice ball in the first place. Out of sight, out of mind.
Your escape caused the deaths of many that were stationed at the lock. Some would brand that as a bit dismissive for what you're describing as a protest. If you were simply advocating for your fellow inmates, why didn't you just go through the proper channels?
And what the hell was I supposed to do? Send a strongly worded letter to my duly appointed representative? Wake up. The UC only responds to actions, not words. In my mind, there was no other choice. You know what? Let's move past my time at the lock so we can get to the point of this goddamned interview.
Yeah?
You've entered the clinic space. Please dock or leave the area clear for incoming patients.
Ma'am, I'm just the courier.
I understand that. I'm not blaming you directly. Dr. Salvato, how long have you been here?
About a year now, Doctor.
And in that year, how many times have we had this conversation about late or missing shipments of supplies?
I believe this is the third time.
Yes, that sounds right. 3 times. I will be making it very clear to your superiors that lives are at stake, and the clinic requires reliable transport. If your company cannot meet our needs, someone else will.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Thank you, Dr. Salvato. You may return to your duties. No matter how much we learn, we're only just barely staying ahead of the curve.
Mind your step. Floors in here can be a bit slick at times. Don't ask why. Is there something I can help you with? You look a bit lost. Damn. You're fleet, aren't you? Oh, I should have known she'd send someone. Look, the price of goods here has gone up. Doubled, tripled even. Did she not even consider a cheaper supplier? She really should. I know we had a deal, but the fleet don't like paying a premium. I was hoping she'd take the hint and find another supplier. It's just, I hear about people getting treated or dying all the time due to run-ins with the fleet. How does it all shake out in the end? I don't know. Either way, it seems like I end up with lives on my conscience. Yeah? Advice from the fleet? I doubt it. Hey, I've been cleaned for years, and I have a good reputation here on the clinic. It'd be my words against hers. At this point, it takes some serious evidence for anyone to believe her. Just because the clinic has supplies to spare now, doesn't mean we won't need them later. Easy. We're just talking, right? I think you've convinced me. Still, I can't believe I made a deal with the Crimson Fleet. I've stashed the supplies in the storage closet just around the hall. Here's the key. Just try not to let anyone see you. I want to keep this as under the radar as possible.
Every new alien pathogen we discover is
You heard of the Elios Retreat? Supposed to be some new age healing center for reforming criminals or whatever.
Thanks for delivering the critical supplies.
Nothing like the smell of a dead shark.
The fleet protects our own.
Tell me you've got those supplies from Gennady. I'm on the last of my med packs here.
Fun when the rabbit got the gun.
I knew he'd come around. Bastard owes me big time. I might have to make this a regular thing. At least it's one way to get guaranteed supplies. I only need to determine Gennady's limits. I'd hate to break him. That's the way, isn't it? I just feel more comfortable knowing Gennady was handling it. No offense, but I don't envision the fleet to be very efficient with a shopping list. Well, I'll arrange your payment so you can get out of here. I appreciate the help.